I'm interested to see what happens, in the next 10 years or however long, just going forward period in tattooing, in what people can achieve and maintain the integrity of a tattoo over a long period of time. Because it's, you see tattoos that are out there and it's like, fine, whatever. Like, it looks great today, looks great for a photo, looks great when it's first healed. After a year, it looks 5 years old. After 5 years, it looks 10 years old. After 10 years, it looks like nothing. So I'd be interested to see if whatever crazy stuff people are producing now, if they find ways to maneuver what's possible and maintain its like long life and integrity of the tattoo.
Agreed.
Shit's about to go down.
I'm feeling something in my spirit.
Chats and Tatts with Aaron Della Vedova.
Okay, deep breath. What about what? What do you want? All right, I'll take it. Look at that. He gave you a whole burst of energy. Thank you. All right, everybody, welcome back to Chats and Tatts with me, your host, Aaron Della Vedova. I am honored and amazed and just overjoyed because I am in Frankfurt, Germany at Gods of Ink. And I'm sitting down with some of the most prolific tattoo artists and artists in the world. And this particular gentleman that is in front of me right now is no exception. I have been looking up to his work for many, many years. We're going to get to all that in a minute. Illustrative based tattooer, what he does is similar to what I do. So there's a particular flavor of admiration that I have for him. So I'm going to get it. Let's just go. But with all that being said, please welcome Jake Danielson.
Thank you. That's a great intro. I don't know if I'm going to live up to it.
Oh, yeah, I get it.
That's great. Thank you so much.
You're
I've
shy.
Admired your work for probably since the start of my career. Long time. You were among the first people that I discovered like through Instagram, but early in my career, where like seeing someone else doing large scale full body tattoos that aren't traditional Japanese. So it was a cool sort of like you and a handful of others that I discovered early on was like a cool sort of thing to see of like, oh, you can do like this style or this style like in a large scale format. Whereas I feel like I wasn't seeing too much else of that at the time. It was like Japanese stuff was bodysuits and then the other styles were singular pieces.
Yes. Yeah. No, that was a huge struggle. I mean, it doesn't even seem like a struggle looking back now that people like you are doing what you do. But, it was my own blockage, but it was like, how do I make a back piece to a leg sleeve without finger waves and wind?
Yeah.
Can it be done?
Yeah.
And it's like, I do different things. Filigree or, there always has to be like some kind of movement in not always, but like something that cohesively transfers between the composition from the back to the ass to this. And how do you deal with that crease of the ass cheek? Can you do that without wind?
Some type of flow element that complements the body and transitions the elements of like of the design to the sections
not everything
of the body.
can be a snake.
Yeah, exactly. Not everything can be a snake. Yeah.
Women's faces and hands and arms. Like, how do we do this?
Yeah, trying to work out how to do like a lady face with an arm and a body across from, say, the calf or the thighs all the way up to the shoulders to work in the bum and work in the hips and stuff to make it look nice is, you're among the first people I saw doing that. So I always appreciated your work for that reason alone.
Thank you for the compliment.
You're welcome.
And
thanks for having me.
I'm stoked to have you here. Your work is amazing. I mean, I just learned you've been tattooing for 14 years. Almost. Not even 14 years. And you're 30 years old. And I fucking scroll through your Instagram and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? So we'll get into that because I have a feeling you're some kind of obsessed maniac. But I know the hour, unless you know how to tattoo 5 times as fast as me. And if you do, please, we'll talk later.
I don't think I'm that fast. I'm pretty fast, but I'm sure I'm
You
not
gotta
5
be
times as
fast to cover that much skin. Jesus Christ. Well, let's start from a little bit from the beginning. I don't want to go through your fucking childhood, but it is always interesting to understand, where you're born, where you're raised, and how does tattoo find you? I mean, how does this even happen in your life?
So I'm from Melbourne, Australia. I started tattooing when I was 16, did my apprenticeship. a shop called Royal Ink in Melton. Melton's like a semi-regional town in Melbourne. It's about 45 minutes out of the city. And then tattooing was just one of those things that I was always super interested in, like through high school and stuff. Like I knew I wanted to get tattoos because my dad had some tattoos, and like I saw him get them done. And my dad's best friend actually was like a tattooer in the 90s, and he did some tattoos on my dad. So I always thought it was super cool. He got into doing like airbrushing stuff after, like kind of H.R. Geiger-y sort of things. He did like boats and like old school fridges and stuff with these airbrush designs. I thought that was super cool. And I'd always drawn anime and all that sort of stuff. And then when I was like 14, 15, I was like, oh, tattooing's like a job. I guess I could do that. So I started drawing like tattoo designs instead of anime and whatnot. And then, yeah, I kind of fell into my apprenticeship. I was like 15 in school, and I was like, well, if I start drawing tattoo designs now, I can like get good at it and build up a portfolio. So when I'm 18 and I finish school, I can like start going to tattoo shops and like try and get an apprenticeship. I didn't think anywhere would take me on like as a fucking 16-year-old in high school. But I rode like BMX a lot at the time. And one of my friends that I rode bikes with, his mum went to school with the guy who taught me how to tattoo his wife. And they had like just opened up a shop again. He'd been tattooing for like 25 years at that point in the city, and he opened up a shop in his town, which is where I lived. And she had heard that like they were looking for an apprenticeship, and my friend's mum was like, oh, I know a kid who'd be perfect for it, and kind of recommended me. And I went there like after school in my school uniform. I don't know, it's just fucking, I mean, I wouldn't have hired me. But they saw something and they were like, oh, well, yeah, we'll take you on. Yeah. And then I started on Monday, and then I was there for like...
How old are you at this point right now?
16. Yeah. So I went in, and then, yeah, I was there for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. And then the school year finished. And our school year, like, you guys do it differently in America, I think, but our school year finishes in December, and we have our summer break for like 6 weeks in over Christmas time. And
that's summer down there.
That's summer down there. Yeah, we're the opposite to you.
Yeah.
So I'd been going to the tattoo shop, like doing my apprenticeship after school and on the weekends for like 3 months. And then the 6 weeks holidays that we had, I just went to the shop every day, like 6 days a week, and I was just there. And then I was like, bro, I can't go back to school. Like,
oh
yeah, my mentor was like, he took me on like kind of casually at first and was like, you know, I want you to finish school and stuff like that. And I was like, fuck that, dude. Like, I don't want to finish school, no way. And my parents, thankfully, were like super supportive and like really chill about me dropping out to tattoo. And so then I went all in on my apprenticeship then. And then I started tattooing, and then, yeah, moved pretty quickly from there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got an early start.
Yeah. And it was a busy street shop too. So like they took me on like sort of, you know, wanting me to get tattooing so I could start doing some of the walk-in stuff because they were all getting busy and stuff. So
that's the perfect scenario.
Yeah, it's great because I just tattooed everything.
Because putting the hours in, learning the technique quickly at such a young age.
Yeah. My mentor was great. Like, I love him to bits. Really, really appreciative for everything that he gave me. And he wasn't a super hands-on teacher though. He was kind of like throw you in the deep end of the pool and like see if you can swim, and then just help you a little bit, like whenever you needed it. So yeah, he got me tattooing, and then was like, I don't know, there was just like one random day where like this customer came in and no one was free to do it. And he was like, oh, Jake can do it. And then I did this like, it was like a tribal thing like on the hand here. And that was my first like walk-in tattoo that was paid. And then from then I just did walk-ins, like anything and everything, lettering, tribal, a little bit of realism, you know, old school, like American traditional stuff. And I do that all day. And then in the evenings, because I was 16 at the time, and through like the crowds that I was in, like riding BMX and skating and going to like heavy metal shows and stuff, like a lot of my friends that I had weren't from school, and they were like friends from like the social groups that I would hang out in. And a lot of them were a little bit older than me. So a lot of them were like just turning 18. So they were like super keen to get tattooed, and even more keen to get tattooed if it was free. So I did a lot of free tattoos. And then when I started doing walk-ins and I was like making a little bit of money, I'd do that all day and like work the shop all day And then at like 5 or 6 p.m., I'd book an evening session, like a full day, 3 to 6 hours or whatever it was. And I'd do like, I guess, my stuff, like custom drawn stuff on my friends they were all super keen to get it. And you know, they're probably kind of shitty tattoos now, but I'm like super appreciative of them. So for like the first year that I was tattooing full time, I was just doing like walk-ins, street shop stuff all day, and then evening sessions at night. And like my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, was like, "When are you coming home?" I was like, "Yeah."
You're married, actually.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, she's super cool. My wife's awesome. And we've been together almost the whole time I've been tattooing. So it's kind of like not how we met, but kind of
rare. That's rare. That usually that person, that girlfriend, and what you're saying, that goes separate ways.
Yeah, no, she's been super cool. So she's been like in the industry as long as I have, and she's like, you know, super covered in tattoos. And
she's not a tattooer, is she?
No, she's a pastry chef.
What?
A pastry chef?
Oh, pastry chef.
Yeah, she makes cakes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So you get done with that big day, and you got the best cupcake in the world waiting for you when you get home.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow. So that's kind of like the dream scenario.
Oh.
You know, everybody out there that went through whatever they went through to become a tattooer, forgive him. The gods of tattoo like him. I don't know why.
Don't get me wrong, it had its moments. You know, it was a proper old school street shop, but for the most part, I look back on my apprenticeship very fondly.
Well, yeah, you were treated right, and you were given the opportunity, and you took it. That's the difference.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people that would have been in that situation that would have not stayed late at night and done their work. I mean, that's what I'm hearing in this story is this incredible work ethic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where'd you get that from? Just it's in you, or you what? You just love tattooing that?
I just love tattooing. Yeah.
That's where. Yeah, me too. People are like, you're hard.
I've been pretty blessed with the people that I've surrounded myself with for my whole career. That I rarely ever feel like I'm the hardest worker in the room. I've been around some people that really put in a lot of hours and a lot of graft into like perfecting their craft. So I've always felt like I'm playing catch up, or like I don't work enough, you know? So yeah, it's nice of you to say that, but I've always felt like, maybe I'm a little lazy or something.
It's hard to think about you being around others that were outworking that schedule.
Yeah.
And what I see in your portfolio today, which is obviously the result of somebody who works hard and long and hard.
That's right.
So yeah, you had some good people around you. That's for
absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, I've been very lucky, very fortunate to have like great people around me for
my
whole
year,
career.
So this is 17, 18, 19 we're talking about at this point. And
like my age or the year?
No, this phase of your life. This is your 17, 18, 19.
Yeah, like 16 to 18, 19,
16, yeah. What year is this? Help me out.
Well, I started my apprenticeship in 2011.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was at the shop that I worked at until 2015.
So this is like the real explosion of what you do now. This is when everybody
absolutely.
started.
Yeah, I started tattooing in a real sweet spot where like
exactly, that's my
this
point.
whole like obviously throughout like the late 90s and early 2000s, tattooing was really pushing forwards. But there was like a more select group of people that were really pushing that. And then with the rise of Instagram at that time, like 2012 is when Instagram really popped off. So I got to kind of ride that wave.
And that's also the wave where, and maybe it's still here for some artists, but that's the wave where the thing to do is to get a bigger tattoo than your friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it was like, oh, you got a half sleeve, I got a full sleeve.
Yeah.
You got a full sleeve, I got a back piece.
Yeah.
You know, that's, yeah.
Well, I remember like when I started tattooing, my whole perception of tattooing was so different. Like what I thought it was gonna be and like what I thought I knew about tattoos was so different to what was starting to happen at that time. I feel like 2010 onwards like really had a shift in tattooing and like, I guess more like regular people getting larger tattoos and all of those sort of things. And just all of that sort of coinciding with the rise of Instagram and stuff. So it's just started becoming more and more, I wouldn't say acceptable or in reach, but just more like people were more aware of it. Mm-hmm. So they were seeing more of it. So they were getting more of it. And then, yeah, because I got to kind of start my career alongside that, Instagram worked out really well for me where, you know, like I said, I was tattooing my friends in the evenings. So I had, early on in my career, I had a portfolio of work that I could advertise on Instagram to get more work like that. And I think in like my first 2 years, like I was pretty much booked out doing like what I was doing or like my flash or whatever it was. So I got to really just continue on that.
Perfect timing. When 33 years watching how the cycles have went on.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen it all.
That's the spot. You nailed that. I mean, not on purpose maybe, but you're aware of that.
Yeah. It wasn't by choice. It was just situationally where I landed in it all.
It's funny, at that time, us in America, we didn't even know you guys were tattooing down there. or anywhere for that matter. It was like, oh yeah, there's Philip Liu. There's like 3 or 4 guys in Europe that are tattooing, and the Americas were tattooing. Meanwhile, tattooing was happening at this pace in all these other countries. You see it when you go out on that floor today. And
exactly.
The whole world was working hard. And I had no idea. I mean, I know now, but back then I had no idea.
Yeah. Well, even when I started, like, Instagram wasn't like fully popped off yet. So there was a lot, you had your tattooers that were on Facebook still, your tattooers that were, off the MySpace sort of thing, and then your tattooers that were going onto Instagram. But like a lot of the ways that you say 2012 and people immediately think like Instagram was like fully in swing sort of thing. And like it was kind of, but like I wasn't using it for that just yet. So all the people that I found out about was through like magazines and books that we had in the shop. My mentor had a collection of books and magazines, with this one called like Tattoo Candy. It was like an Australian magazine, and found all these artists through there, like, Rachie Brains and Emily Rose, Jasmine Austin, all those like really cool Australian tattooers that I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. We had a magazine that did like a huge feature on Uncle Ellen, and I was like, oh, that is so cool, and I'd never seen tattoos like that before I got into the shop. I just thought tattoos were tattoos. Like, my dad had like kind of like 90s 2000s style tattoos. I just thought that's what tattooing was, and it was like kind of this like biker scene or whatever, and I was like, yeah, that sounds cool, like I don't mind like being around all that, like I just want to fucking tattoo. But then I like found all these people, and like, Philip Liu, we had Philip Liu's book and Shige and stuff, and I'm flicking through all of those and seeing all this incredible work, and it just immediately blew my mind into like how much more incredible tattooing was than I even thought that it was. And then fast forward like only 6 months, and then I'm on Instagram, and everyone's on Instagram posting, and I'm just finding more and more artists every day. So just like constantly like inspired and blown away by like all the stuff people are doing. So it became a really big world, like really fast for me. And I realized how many people are out there doing incredible work, which I found like extremely motivating.
You're nailing it. That's tattoo history right there. I mean, that's exactly what happened at that time. The world of tattooing was shown to all the other tattooers around the world in like a fucking week.
Yeah.
And it's not a week, but there was like
it feels like it when you look back at it.
It feels like that. Yeah. It was the same process happened for me. I was at that time sitting around thinking I was the greatest tattooer in the world because in my little town, I was like, fucking king, man, did it. I'm the winner. Fuck off.
Yeah.
And Instagram happens, and I'm like, I suck. What the fuck? Oh my fucking God. And it never stopped. It's still going.
Yeah, it's still going.
Yeah, it's still going. Totally.
It's crazy. Like I travel around a bit and go to a lot of different conventions and stuff, and every time you find someone and you're like, holy shit, like people are doing, like the best tattoos in the world are being done right now. They're being done out there.
Yeah, right now.
And you get to go and look at it and you're like, fuck, that is insane. Like, it's so good. And then sometimes you see people and you're like, oh, yeah, I've been tattooing like 6 years. You're like, fuck you.
I know. I had a rule at my shop. Anybody under 6 years, you can't work here.
Yeah.
Now my rule is 2. Maybe less.
So,
let me see what you got.
There's just such a like
so much faster.
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like there's some people would look at it negatively, but there's so much information and inspiration out there now that it's so, I don't want to say easy to like discredit their work or whatever, because people who started in the 90s probably think how I had it was easy, and people who started when I started probably think how people have it now is easy. So I don't want to say easy, but there's so much information and inspiration and knowledge out there that you don't even have to look that far to see, that people now they get to run in like
they get to start. They get to start at the last best tattoo that was done that week.
Yeah.
Capitalize on it, make it better, and jump from there.
Exactly. Yeah.
So here you have this acceleration occurring.
Yeah.
And maybe it's in defense of my own career, but for most of the first half of my career, we didn't have. You had to drive somewhere, go in, fake that you're not a tattooer, so they would allow you to see the portfolio, try
Yeah.
to memorize what the fuck they were doing.
Yeah.
What the fuck did you want to? Oh, hey, you can have it back now. You know that, and then when that was the game changer, is everyone being able to see what everyone else was doing.
Yeah.
Learn from that and leapfrog forward from that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not going to stop, and we can see it happening today, and it's happening at such a accelerated pace that I don't know if we go here now, but it makes me think about the next 10 years. Like, I look out there at all that stuff that people are doing, all the greatest tattooers in the world are doing right now, and it's hard for me to imagine something better than that.
I know, right?
You know,
Yeah.
like it's the top of the pyramid. You can't do anything that looks more like a painting than that. You can't compose better than that.
Yeah.
And I do think there is going to be not a plateau, but I think this fucking rocket ship increase in radness is going to go a little like this.
Yeah.
And now we're going to see more of this type of a climb.
Well, I think it has to, right? Because there's limitations to what you can actually achieve in the skin, in the sense of something that's going to last as a tattoo. I'm interested to see what happens, in the next 10 years or however long, just going forward, period, in tattooing, in what people can achieve and maintain the integrity of a tattoo over a long period of time. Because it's, you see tattoos that are out there and it's like, fine, whatever. Like, it looks great today, it looks great for a photo, looks great when it's first healed. After a year, it looks 5 years old. After 5 years, it looks 10 years old. After 10 years, it looks like nothing. So I'd be interested to see if whatever crazy stuff people are producing now, if they find ways to maneuver what's possible and maintain its like long life and integrity of the tattoo.
Agreed. I mean, because first of all, we have we have a traditional backbone in our work.
Yeah.
You both of us do,
Yes.
right? You put the fucking black outline in there. You put some darkness behind it somewhere, usually black.
Yeah.
Use some color to bring that image forward.
Yep.
Lots of skin, maybe, hopefully. I'm guilty of sometimes not doing that as well as I should.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, it's in its core, it's neo. That's why they call it neo-trad.
Yeah.
Because there's a traditional backbone occurring in there.
Yeah.
And I'm a free-loving guy. Like, everyone go out. I'm not here to judge.
Yeah.
And it's hard, how do I word this? But there is so much hyper-realism occurring in the industry that is so fucking amazing and shocking. Not just the phone. I mean, I've seen a lot of this stuff in person.
Yeah.
Like, how is that? How do you get these micro increments of color adjustments? And I don't think it's
extreme patience.
dude, time.
That's some of those they do such long sessions.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
Yeah, I have friends that are like, I'm gonna get my some famous tattooer that does photorealistic, blah blah blah. I'm getting a back piece from this guy, and I'm just like, I think that's fucking rad. Are you ready for 200 hours on your back? Because maybe he can do it quicker, but I don't think you can create a back piece of that stuff.
I find it crazy when they do large scale stuff where it takes multiple sessions to build it up, and I'm like, man, how do you they just keep coming back and recreating the photo? Like, I guess we kind of do that with our drawings and stuff, but for the most part, I outline it and then I color it in.
Yep. Maybe there's a touch up.
Yeah.
But
like, I'm not like, I'm just gonna spend 8 hours on this one section of your back, and then I've got 40 more of those panels to do over the next however many sessions.
True.
But I think when I started, guys like Nico Hurtado and stuff were, top of the realism game, doing phenomenal realism work and stuff. And you've always got the people that are like, it's not gonna last, whatever. And it has improved.
Oh yeah.
Incredibly.
That's true.
I'm not a huge fan of realism tattooing. I don't dislike it, and I kudos to the people that do it. It's just not my flavor. I like illustrative stuff, Japanese and neo-trad and stuff. But even if you just look at the last 10 years of realism, like what I was saying before, in terms of mastering the longevity of the tattoos, there's still some realism tattoos that are going to fall apart really quick. And I see tattoos that look incredible when they're fresh, and not even a year later they look like nothing. Well, not nothing, but you can see the lack of the backbone in there. But there's people who are doing that style of stuff, and they're making it last a bit longer. I'm talking stuff that I've seen over the last 5 years or so. So it's not like I've seen it 20 years down the track, but it's improved from where it was. So not just in realism, but that's where I'm interested to see like what people can get away with and have it last. Like I can't wait to see what the next 20 years of my career looks like for myself, but also like seeing what work other people are doing and what work that's being done today looks like in that time, you know?
Only time will tell, man.
Yeah,
That's the unique thing, well, one of the unique things about the tattoo art form. It's one of the only art forms that has this longevity thing happening.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could say that about a painting and how long that paint will stay on the canvas, but let's be real, that's not really a concern to some degree.
Yeah.
But our stuff, it's a major concern, you know, what's going to be there. We're living tissue with sunshine hitting our arms and this and that, and I have dark skin, light skin. There's a lot going on there. And I'm like you, I am a fan of the more traditional backbone pieces.
Yeah.
It's just maybe why I grew up on that stuff, but it's also something I trust a little more. Like I'm too scared to try some of those techniques. I'm like, I'm just so terrified I'm going to use peach and it's going to come back.
Yeah.
Peach terrifies me.
Yeah.
That particular color.
Yeah.
I think I had a bad one where I used peach and the guy comes back and it's like his freckles or something's happening and the peach is muddy or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like the discoloration.
Yeah.
I've had that happen like once or twice before, and I tried to do some research on it, and it was hard to find like good solid information about what happens with that sort of stuff.
I think it has to do with because I've used that, maybe we're talking about peach. I've used that on other people look great.
Yep.
And similar looking skin tones.
Yep.
But this particular person, it's a fucking problem.
Yeah.
So it's just over the years, I've gotten more scared. I'm just like, all right, more black, simpler colors, you know, primaries that I know fucking work.
Yeah.
I'm just, you know, like you, I don't just care about what's going to happen today and how much that client's going to be like, thank you, fucking dope. And the photo goes on Instagram and everyone's fucking giving you all the comments. I'm really concerned about bumping into that guy or girl at a fucking restaurant in 15 years and then being like, look, and I'm like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah. I think that was like that was a major shift for me at like the 10-year mark, where like, not just at the 10-year mark, but like leading up to that as well, but where you're like, the tattoo, how it lives on like on the person for the next, like the rest of their life is so much more important than the Instagram photo. And the 10-year mark is probably not even a good marker. Like when I started doing larger scale stuff, I really realized that, because before I was doing larger scale stuff, sleeves and back pieces and stuff, I was doing a lot of one hit pieces, like upper arm, outer thigh sort of thing, like one session, big tattoo, sort of 5 to 8 hours, come in, bang it out. And at that point in my career, I had such a I thought speed was so important, like wanting to get the job done for my clients so they didn't have to come back and pay for another session. So it was just the once, trying to give them like a big tattoo for the rate that they were paying me. So I felt like they were getting something good for their money, and just trying to get it done, and then trying to get an Instagram photo to post it up that day. You know, like every day was tattoo, take a photo, post it on Instagram, go home, draw the next tattoo, do the same thing every single day. And that was like my cycle. It was like, I wanted to get a good photo for it. I wanted to post it online. So you get that instant gratification and everyone tells you how good you are and stuff. And it feels good. And you're like, oh, that's great. And I started doing larger scale stuff. And I'm like, oh, I've got nothing to post. And I realized it's not really important. It doesn't really matter. So I started caring more about the tattoo. And then, you know, fast forward a little bit more till you get to like sort of the 10-year mark, and not right on 10 years, because it's like you're not looking at stuff you did as an apprentice and be like, oh wow, look how that healed. It's like, you're an apprentice, like it's probably fucking healed shit anyway. But the years forward from 10 to now, you start seeing pieces that you did in the first few years of your career and how they've aged, and you start to influence your decisions more on how things are going to last in the long run. And like now, because I'm doing back pieces and stuff at home all the time, you know, they're like 6 to 20 session projects that I'm working on. So I barely have anything to post, and it's made me realize like how not important that is to an extent. I'm in a fortunate position where I'm busy at home, so I don't have to maintain posting all the time to keep the workflow going. So there's a duality to it. Right. But I just mean that importance that people can place on like that instant gratification of having like posting your tattoo straight away and stuff. Like it's much more important to like focus on the quality of your craft and the longevity of the tattoo, and then if you do that and you put like good effort into your work and good care into that, you're going to create a good product which will sell itself.
100% agree. I kind of almost feel bad for the young tattooers, or not in every regard. I mean, there's a few levels to this, but for the young guys that are coming up, or girls coming up right now, it's like, wow, they've got a big problem ahead of them because the industry is already saturated by kings of tattooing. So many of them. So I imagine myself in their position, and I'm like, and this is where my forgiveness and compassion comes in for the things that some of them do, that I'm like, I think that's irresponsible tattooing, and I think you even know it is. But they're probably thinking, I need fucking clients, dude. Like, this picture is cool enough, and it gets more hype than, it's so funny over my career. It's like, how many times have I posted a bodysuit that I'm like, hey, everybody, check out the last 3 years of my fucking life. And it's like, cool. And then somebody that works for me does this thing this big, and it's like the world as a fucking explodes around it. And so there is an unfortunate situation they find themselves in, which is how to get a foothold in this current beast of an industry that is hitting some kind of saturation point. And so they're looking around like, some of the young tattooers, I can tell what they're doing is they're just looking around like, what's hot? Like, what do you do? They're looking at you like, I don't know what I do. What should I do? Kind of a thing. And that was never, when you were coming up and I was coming up, that was not you did what you did. And if it was good, everyone loved it. Now they're looking at like, what's the niche? Like, what's hot right now? And they know, because they go in here and they see like, it's pretty obvious that's hot. That's what I do. I do micro tats. Because I got bills and I got to, so they are up against something in that regard. It's
well, it's kind of the thing now where like custom tattooing has sort of taken over from flash tattooing, which I feel like, and I could be wrong on my perspective of this. There's probably people who, I mean, you would probably be able to offer a better insight with 30 years, but I feel like when I came into it, it was on the tipping point of custom really taking over. Not that custom wasn't around before. There was people pushing, like yourself, pushing custom tattooing before that.
We were kind of the rarity. Yes.
Exactly. I feel like I came in where custom was at the tipping point of sort of taking over as the majority sort of thing. When your TV show started, where they started really promoting the story behind the tattoo. People went from wanting flash off the wall to wanting something that means something. And then from wanting something that means something to just wanting something that looks cool but is unique to them. And now we're in sort of that era where custom's more important, but there's so many different genres of tattooing that it's not all the same thing. And people kind of have to find their, like you said, their sort of foothold in where they belong, but they don't really get the, I don't know if it's a luxury or not, but I would say it was important to my career, and obviously important to all the people that came before me, of like working in a street shop where people would come in and ask for anything and everything and flash off the walls, where you can really learn everything. Nowadays it seems like the younger tattooers go straight into specializing in something. And I mean, I don't know this, but I know from my personal experience, when I started tattooing, I had absolutely no perspective on how incredible some of the work that was out there was. And I had a very limited, I knew that I thought tattoos were super cool and I liked the idea of them and the way they looked, and I wanted to do that. But what I thought was possible and what I thought tattoos were was way different to what was actually happening. I came into it thinking I'll just do tattoos, whatever. And then I got into it a bit more. I was like, I'll do American traditional or something. And then, neo-trad showed itself to me, and I was like, oh shit. And then I started Japanese, and I was like, oh my God, wow. So what I thought I was going to do when I started tattooing and what I do now are completely separate things. I just wanted to do good tattoo. I just wanted to be a good tattooer. Whereas I feel like now people come in and they're like, I do this.
Yeah.
That's it, full stop. And it's it's tough to pigeonhole yourself so early, especially if it's something that's a trend or whatever, because you're not going to learn all the things that the other styles can teach you. sure, you might get really good at that one thing, and that's good. You kind of have to now, like.
So that's kind of what I was going to say. I mean,
Yeah.
I agree with everything you just said, but it's hard for me to advise the young tattooer anymore because I'm still trying to figure this out. But sometimes I kind of say, find your niche.
Yeah,
Like,
I feel like you kind of have to, but it's also like the duality of it is kind of a shame if you don't explore everything.
I have the same heartache when I say it because I'm like, God damn it, I would just love to see you do some fucking street tattoos for 4 years.
Yeah.
And then find your niche.
Yeah.
But you'll probably starve before you get to that point.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, you won't
pick
make it there.
something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's so different. Yes. That's cool. Well, that sort of leads to like this whole, the evolution of tattooing, right? In this genre expansion that's occurring, you know, I think, 10 years ago, I could name 4 genres. Now I could probably name 20,
Yeah.
you know, but, I kind of feel like I'm an old timer now and I'm a very open-minded guy. I love to accept all art on every level, but when it first starts, I've had my moments, especially like the black work movement. I was like, what is this? This is not art.
Yeah.
Do you know how to draw a fucking snake? Get the fuck out of here, I was wrong.
Yeah.
Because that evolved into what I think is some of the most beautiful tattooing happening today. In fact, if I could go back in time, I don't even know if I would be an illustrative tattooer. I think I would maybe just decorate human bodies with black ink and different shapes. And, it's so...
Yeah, some of it's not for me, but some of it, like what they can create with just black paneling and just slight bits of open skin that creates some type of flow line on the body. And like, also the clients that are into that like niche of tattooing, their willingness to dedicate such large panels for
Talk about hardcore collectors.
Yeah, what is like a super simple vision.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, I just want to do this like one negative line that goes from the inside of your ankle all the way up your leg, across your hip, across your arm ditch and up to your shoulder. And that's it. And you're like, yeah, sweet. What's the rest going to be? Just black.
Yeah.
But it looks cool.
One of the coolest,
it's not for everyone, but it looks cool.
Well, one of the coolest paradigms that broke, which I think is so fucking awesome, is this whole idea that culture always had, which was, nice tattoo, what's it mean?
Yeah.
And which drove me a little bit crazy in the beginning, although I think there was part of me, it's like, yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, the whole client comes in and the art's being destroyed because they are convinced, they don't even care. It's just that they know they have to go answer to a bunch of people. Yeah. And their mom and their dad and their wife are going to ask that question and they need to have a valid answer. Yeah, so this great sleeve you just did, which is beautiful, it's going to have this one opal in it because... Yeah,
it's their grandmother's birthday.
There you go. Yeah. And then I have a meaning for this whole thing. That whole...
That's the TV show thing.
Oh, yeah, probably.
I mean, I think so. Like, they highlighted the stories of the tattoos so much.
As if every tattoo must have a story or it's shit and invalid.
Exactly. But, that exposure to tattoos is what, like, blew it up to such a wide audience of people who would never get a tattoo, but now they want one because they think it looks kind of cool, but they're like, I don't just want one for no reason. So they're like, I can have like this flower's got to be purple for my nan. It's her favorite color. And then I'm always like, fucking purple.
Purple doesn't work there.
Yeah.
But it's got to be purple.
Yeah, it was always purple too. I've been pretty lucky in my career with people
it's always purple.
Yeah, it's always fucking purple, man. People are always like super cool about everything, and then you get halfway through the tattoo and they're like, I just want this to be purple.
I think
I'm like, fucking
we
purple.
can declare that purple is the most meaningful color.
People love it. People love
means
purples.
the most in some spiritual family way.
Yeah.
Well, that's the part I do love, is that paradigm seems to be rapidly shifting, and there's a new paradigm, which is, hey guys, girls, we can just decorate ourselves, right?
Absolutely.
Which is like, it's so obvious when you look back on it, like, how do we paint cars? How do we decorate living rooms? How do we design architecture? Like, we don't build a beautiful fucking house and then put a purple chandelier because no one walks in your house and it's like, man, this place is dope. What's it represent?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But when it's on your body, you better have a fucking story.
I feel like that's coincided with like the general acceptance of tattoos in the wider world as well.
Right. People are no longer concerned with that particular detail.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some people that are, but for the most part, I mean, like in Australia, like you walk around and like everyone's got a sleeve. I feel like there's more people that have tattoos than don't at home. Everyone I see has a sleeve. Australia's like, by and large, like a pretty blue collar country, and like, your majority of like people work in trades or maybe in an office or something, and you see them out at the shopping center, and they've got like their arms, hands. Like I see tattoos on everyone.
That's so cool, but
it's awesome.
It's such a bummer that like I did this to be like a badass, and I'm not.
Yeah.
Which is the truth. I'm not. But oh, the truth is exposed. You fucking damn it.
But I feel like when the TV shows kind of boomed tattooing into a wider audience, it made it more okay for your average person who isn't a biker or a super fringe social group to get a tattoo if it meant something.
Yes.
And then as that's grown, now it doesn't have to, and you can just like adorn your body with something beautiful, which is great.
Which is great.
And it's great for me because I do big work, and people come to me like, I want this, and they're so willing to go for like ideas and it would look better if we did it this little bit bigger or this, and they're like, yeah, okay, cool. Like,
well, the truth is to really compose a large, which you do a lot of this, compose a large piece across the entire human form. That might mean that there's just an area this large that's a part of the robe off of a woman's head.
Yeah.
But it occupies your ass to almost your fucking knee.
Yep.
So on its own, what is that?
Yeah.
It's just a big bunch of lines and some red ink.
Yeah.
Take your clothes off, walk away 20 foot.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell. I'm getting this now,
Yeah.
Yeah, that people are more willing to, and when I look back at my own career, because I grew up in it sooner than you did, I still suffer from this disease. It's like, if I get that moment where I know that's the way to express the piece, and if they walk 20 feet away, it's going to look fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
Like I accidentally have to put a rope or a fucking jewel or, when he's taking a shit, I want him to see something cool, still have something on his thigh that isn't just part of this over-scoping situation.
Yeah.
And there are tricks and good ways to do that, where you can find that little thing that breaks up that part.
You can still keep most parts of it looking interesting.
Yes.
I am a fan of the work where they don't try to do that.
That's kind of my point.
They just, is
there's a lot of people not even trying to do that now, and I'm like, that's the way.
Yeah.
Why am I trying to do this?
Yeah.
But I do think it's a paradigm shift, and I love it. And me myself, I don't know how many more years I've got tattooing. I'm not going to reinvent myself, but gosh, I almost don't even want to tattoo subject matter anymore. Yeah. Like, I just like, can I just decorate you, please?
Yeah, man, I could do background just
all day.
Yeah.
Like a water sleeve.
Yeah.
Oh, let's fucking go.
Yeah. I have dreams of doing like just a water only suit.
I do too. I have the same dream, water sleeves.
Yeah. It's funny how like the longer you tattoo and like you hang out with other tattooers and stuff, like everyone I know that's been tattooing for like a good amount of time, like, oh man, what's the dream thing you'd love to do? Oh, just water.
Yeah.
Just water. Some form of water forever.
Oh my God, it's the funnest thing to tattoo there.
It's so good.
And my thing became filigree, which is water.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same.
It's kind of the same
Some
thing.
type of flowy sort of, anything that flows nice, that's what I like.
True. Okay, I'm always curious to know, a guy like you, your process. You meet the client. How does the client find you? You get an email, I'm assuming, or something.
Yeah.
From there, physical consultations, or go from there.
I've started reintroducing physical consultations if people want to do them. But for a long time, I haven't really done them. It's just been by email. And I'd only ever ask for an in-person consult if I felt like I needed more from the person.
Or if they ask for it.
Or if they ask for it, yeah. I've started offering it again more now, to be like, do you want to discuss this online or do you want to discuss this in person? Either's fine. But I've been fortunate for quite a amount of years now that like a lot of people have traveled to get tattooed by me from other states or other countries and stuff.
So that's not really possible.
So they can't do it. So I kind of had to gear my process to be able to do everything without that. And then it worked fine. So I was just whatever. But then I started like just offering it again to see if people wanted to come into the shop, because it's nice to, I have less space in my calendar now to take on new people. So if someone wants to come in and do a consultation and really make sure that we're the right match, then I'm fine with that. But yeah, people email me, they'll send me their ideas. I generally ask for, okay, give me your name, your contact information, your design idea, placement, and we'll sort of go from there. And some people, it's as simple as, I want an eagle, go for it. I'm like, oh, sweet.
Eagle full front or whatever.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Nowadays, I'll kind of ask a few more questions about like, what are your plans for your body? Whether you're going to get a bodysuit, whether you're going to get a collection of tattoos, whether you want one big tattoo and all stickers, like what are your plans? Because sometimes people will email for a back piece or a sleeve, for example, and then they'll come in for the appointment and they're like, yeah, I want to do the other arm too. And yeah, I want to do my back as well. And then before I know it, I've got half a bodysuit with this person, which is awesome. And I'm super lucky that like a lot of clients return for multiple projects with me, which is great. But sometimes they'll ask for something on their sleeve that's their first idea, and then they'll be like, yeah, I want my back done as well, and they'll tell me their idea for their back, and I'm like, man, that would have been better on your arm, and your arm idea would have been better on your back. So I'll kind of ask people like, what are your plans roughly, whether they're with me or not, so I can like advise from there. But then yeah, from there I just get the idea, and I've been lucky enough that people tend to just trust me, and then I just draw it to be ready for their appointment, and then
So
they
you
show
draw
up.
it up, you send it over to them to
No,
check.
not usually.
You show up,
Yeah,
and there it is.
So I'll do my design like the week of, anywhere from the start of the week to like the night before. I try to spend. Some of my friends hang shit on me for this because it takes them a long time to draw. I draw really fast. It normally takes me like a few hours to draw up like a back piece or something.
iPad.
These days iPad, yeah, but paper just as fast. The iPad's just more convenient. So yeah, I do it all on the iPad now, whip it up. And my usual process for like a back piece, which is like mostly what I'm drawing, is I'll spend 2 days on it. I'll spend the first day knocking out a sketch and like composition and that sort of stuff. And then I'll put it down, leave it for the night, go to work the next day, come back, look at it again, and then I'll do my outline. And if I have enough time, like a color theory. And I find breaking it up like that, I don't necessarily need the time for it. I could do it in one sitting if I wanted to, but it gives me more free time to like not be drawing right after work. And it also, I find like if I come back to it with fresh eyes the next day, I might see something that I didn't see.
Oh, that's so true.
Yeah. So if I leave it all to the last minute, I feel like you just commit and then like you won't see it until you're
It's
halfway
always
through the
better
tattoo.
if you get some idea going, let it sit, sleep.
Yeah.
Our brains work while
Yeah.
we're sleeping, right? So the brain's still working on the project.
Yeah.
You get up, you got new ideas. Yes, that's very similar to how I work,
Yeah.
actually.
So generally I don't send it to them. I don't really know why. Like it's something that when I started tattooing, it was like, I'll show you on the day and we'll have time for changes so that they didn't like take it somewhere else or whatever. Nowadays, I don't know, people don't even really ask that much. They're like, okay, cool, see you on the day. And then they come in for their drawing and they kind of trust that what I'm going to draw is like going to be what they want. And then I show them the design and they like it.
One of the reasons that's true for you is what you do and where you're at in your career. The people that are contacting you they're fans. They're not your normal collect. They are already committed to you, and they're gonna do.
Yeah, I'm very, very lucky to have like really cool clients like that.
Yeah, well, not lucky. I mean, they see, open up, they're like, I know it's gonna be pretty much something like that. I'm down.
Yeah.
So you can just spring it on them, and they're like, fuck yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's kind of just how it goes. And then they come in and then yeah, we get to work.
And then how many hours are you? What's a normal session like?
About 6.
6?
Yeah, about 6 hours. 6 hours of like tattooing time. My like normal day, I start at 11 and then finish anywhere between like 5 and 7 on a normal day, depending on what we're working on. Like 5 would be like early and like we got in, started tattooing straight away and it's just like a coloring session. Sometimes like back piece outline days, we might finish at fucking 10 o'clock at night. Like it just depends on how big it is. And the stencil takes so long, normally like those days we're not starting outlining until like 1 or 2 o'clock. By the time we've like made the stencil, put it on, let it dry, had some lunch. So some days are longer than others. But yeah, about 6 hours. I find 6 is like a sweet spot where like I'm good with that amount and I can tattoo that amount every day and be fine. And I find most clients can sit for 6 hours.
Yeah. I think
near
my
enough.
number's
Near
5.
enough too.
I feel like the 5 number is no one's freaking out.
Yeah.
6s
Yep.
are doable. 7s
Yep.
become the place where I'm like, this is counterproductive.
Yeah, 7 and up, I feel like I'm really pushing people uphill. And there is days, like the way I do, I charge a day rate.
Okay.
So it's a flat fee per day. Sorry. And yeah, it's based on an hourly amount, and it's for on average 6 hours worth of work. But because you're doing 10 session pieces, you kind of aim for a section each time, right? And one day that might be 5 hours worth of work, and one day that might be 7. It just kind of averages out. It's usually around 6. Normally pretty good at guessing a good amount around then, but there is days that are a little less and days that are a little longer. And unless it's dramatically less, it's still sort of the same thing. Like if they tap out, or if we've only got like a small amount of work done, I'll charge a half day or whatever. But in general, we do the sort of like 5 to 7 range.
So on your Instagram, it doesn't say, what is it? Are you private studio?
So I work at a studio that is, I wouldn't say private, it's like an appointment only studio.
Okay.
We're kind of...
You don't run a shop?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's
And
kinda what
I
I'm
don't
trying to figure out
personally right now want the hassle of having to babysit
Well, I'm
other
hearing
tattooers.
I'm seeing the productivity, and I'm hearing your schedule. I'm like, does he fucking run a tattoo shop?
No,
Okay.
I have no intention to either.
And
So
you're doing this 5 days a week?
6.
6?
5 or 6. Yeah.
5 or 6.
Yeah.
Okay, so work-life balance. How do you manage that? I mean, I know what you're doing. The art, the drawing, the whole day of tattooing, 5-6 days,
Yeah.
laundry, grocery shopping. Like, I don't. You look like a healthy guy. I know you're staying fit.
I need to work on my fitness a little
Oh,
more.
we all do. But
Yeah.
how do you have anything you do to like balance yourself out? I mean, that's
So-
a very it sounds rude. I was going to say one-dimensional. But
Yeah.
your
I mean,
life
it's a lot of work. but
is tattooing 90% of your
Yeah.
life is needle in hand, pen in hand.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not...
And it'd be fine. I mean, if you were 14 years in. So how are you staying like
I feel like
healthy, mentally, physically,
the
spiritually?
biggest thing is because I do such big work, I don't have to draw every day.
Well, that's helpful. I get that.
So when I go home from work...
It's not always
and-
drawing to happen.
Exactly. Like I don't have to do that much work
It's still
when I
5
get
to
home.
6 days a week of tattooing. The day's done. By the time you get there, get prepped, tattoo the person, get done, get home, that day's over.
Yeah, so
5 to 6
leave.
days.
I normally leave my house at like 2:45, 10 in the morning, go to work, tattoo till 5, 6, 7 o'clock. Normally by 7-ish, I'm on my way home. Kind of home by 7:30, cook dinner, have dinner with my wife, maybe watch a little bit of TV, play a little bit of video games or something,
So
and then
no
go to
big
bed.
hobbies. You're not into jet skiing or anything?
No, I play basketball twice a week.
All right. You're still getting out there doing something other than tattooing.
Yeah, I play basketball. Yeah, I used to ride bikes a little bit still on the weekends sometimes. But yeah, it's mostly tattooing. It's mostly tattooing.
That's what it sounds
And
like.
My wife's super cool. She's super supportive. She's been around the whole time, so she gets it, and like
You
she's
plan on
chill.
having kids?
We both always wanted kids, but now we're 30 and we're like, not right now. But yeah, one day.
One day.
Yeah.
Well-
we're sort of in the process of like working things
You
out.
can make those adjustments later when the kids show up.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like I want to push myself as hard as I can to like do the best work that I can and work and like get as many people in as I can, get all these projects going and travel, do the conventions and all that stuff while I can, while I have the time, while I have the freedom to do so. Because if we decide to have kids, or if I decide that it's just too much and I want to slow down a little bit, like I want to do it while I'm like feeling good for it, and like right now I'm like the most like energized about like tattooing and doing as much as I can.
You're riding that wave because the wave is curling and you're in the fucking tube. And
It's not like burning me out too much. But honestly, like the big thing is just like I don't have to draw that much. Like
I remember.
And I try to schedule my schedule out specifically. So if I have something new, I try not to book more than one of those in a week. So I've got ample time to do the drawing. So my work-life balance is still good. I go to work every day and then I come home, spend some time with my wife. I still have time for my hobbies outside of work. And we we run around schedule. So if I need to do something, I can get up in the morning and do it before my job, still get to the shop by 11 and do my appointment, and I got time afterwards to do stuff.
I was trying to find a pinch point in your life, and you just don't seem to have one, because that leads to like my next question, which is, life can get to a pinch point where you're trying to do all those things, and maybe you do have the kids, and maybe you have a health crisis, or trying to balance and work at the load that you work at and produce at the productivity level that you work at can create a pinch point. And in those points, I always want to ask people, what's your true north? Like, what gets you through that? But what I'm hearing is, I just think you've got a good rhythm going, and you're like, I don't really run up against those moments. It's flowing right now.
Yeah, it's been a good pinch point.
Yeah.
Sorry, no pinch point really. Just a good flow. Yeah.
Oh, fucking.
I mean, I probably fall behind on other stuff that I should keep up with. Like I don't catch up with friends as often as I should and stuff. And that's just That's just life.
That's life.
That's just life. Is what it is, I get, pretty good flow, pretty good work-life balance. Like I keep things pretty chill. I think, the biggest thing is just not having to draw every day. I had way less time for anything else.
That was a game changer.
When I had to draw every day.
For me too. Because, it starts with everyone, I don't know, in a year you have 500 clients, and then you go down to like 200 clients, and then they get bigger, and suddenly you do a year with 50 clients, and eventually, I don't even know, but you're probably working in a year with 40 people. At that size, it can be 40 people. It could fill up your year.
Absolutely.
So that's 40 drawings. Once you got those fucking things outlined, it's just a matter of going in there, and you already know what's happening. It's just the grinding it out part.
Yeah, exactly. Relationship has become super important to me. Like it always has been. You always want to get along with your client and all that sort of stuff. But now that I spend so much time with them, it's like so much more important to me that I become friends with most of my clients. They're the people that I spend every day with. Like I see them more than my actual friends outside of tattooing. So, I want to like them, and I want them to like me, and I have a deep care for them. So that relationship has become super important in the process of it all. I
mean, from my eyes, you're still a little younger than me, and I think you already said it, that's going to be the most important part when the game's over. Yeah. That part right there.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And there's a connection that's beyond what we get with a wife or a child, that it's special. And,
it's something entirely different all on its own. It's this weird, love that you have for your client and the art that you create that's different to a regular friendship or different to any other relationship, but not less important in any way. It's very unique because it's a very intimate experience, and not intimate in the way that people generally think about intimacy. It's not loving or sexual or anything like that, but it's an intimate and very personal experience when you get tattooed. It's very vulnerable. So it creates
a bond.
Yes, you see people that have tattoos who they had a shit experience getting the tattoo, and the tattoo itself might not even be bad, but they probably don't like that tattoo because the dude that did it was a dick. And you're like, I just don't want to be that. You don't even have to be. I hope I haven't been that for anyone.
You're not. I can tell you're not. But you don't even have to be an overt dick.
Yeah.
There's a layer behind that. If you're carrying any kind of, I don't fucking care about this day, or whatever. You can hide it. You can still smile. That energy is transferring into their body.
Yeah.
And they don't know why they don't really like that tattoo, or when they look at it, they don't smile like they smile when they look at this one.
Yeah.
You're embedding some sort of energy into them, exchanging energy with them. And
for sure.
You got to bring a lot of compassion and a lot of love and a lot of sympathy and a lot of patience, and just kind of be their friend, really. I always pretend like I'm tattooing my brother or my sister. They're not, but I'm like, how would I treat my brother if he was on this table?
Yeah.
I'd probably pause and ask how they're doing. You need another pillow? You thirsty? You need a break? Just or
Absolutely.
Without words, they can feel that, and I think that's truly important because of how that energy you leave behind. You know? Hugely important. Good tattoo karma, I would call that.
Yeah, I feel like there's people in the world who are more spiritually inclined and more aware of the energies around them and stuff. That's not really me. I've never been super into that sort of stuff. Just personally, not as a judgment for people who are. I think it's super cool. But I've never felt any sort of particular way about that, like some sort of spiritual or like a wider connection to the world or something, for me personally. But I feel it with tattooing. And like, I feel like there is, like you said, like an energy transfer between you and the client. Like if you're having a bad day, they're going to feel that.
Yep.
So you have to try and put it to the side and like just be there for that.
So true. Well, let's wrap it up with this. You are a young, well, I kind of want to say that. I don't want to disrespect you, but I'm the old guy.
I'm nearly
Say things
30,
Like this.
come
Bear
on.
with me. You're 30 years old. You've been tattooing for 14 years. You have the fucking portfolio of a goddamn 50-year tattooer, in my opinion.
Thank you.
And beautiful. You are crushing it. I think you're a guy that could give great advice into the younger tattooers.
Thank you.
So in the ending of this, what advice would you have? Because there is an army of people coming into this industry who want your spot in a good way.
Yeah.
What's your advice to all these young folks that are coming into our game right now? What would you say to them?
Oh God, I'm terrible with these on the spot, like heavy questions. Work hard.
Yes.
Draw a lot. Pay attention to what those before you have done.
Good advice.
Yeah.
That's enough. That's good.
I think that's good.
Yes, all those are true, and especially the work hard part.
Yeah.
Because I think there's too many people like, that looks like an easy job. It's like, no, it's not.
Yeah. There's a lot of outside hours and stuff, and just take good care of your clients as well, I think.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Good advice. All right. Well, Jake, thank you so much for
Thanks for
sharing
having
your time with me and inspiring me. Your work is an inspiration to me personally. So
It's a pleasure.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. Like I said at the start, yours has been an inspiration to me,
Well,
and I really enjoy what you're doing.
then we're even for now.
Yeah. Excellent.
Thank you all for tuning in. Please go check out Jake Danielson at, is there an underscore there? At Jake Tattoos. No
Just
underscore.
Jake Tattoos, one word.
Jake Tattoos. He's in Melbourne, Australia.
Yeah.
Big illustrative, color, composed work. Check it out. Some of my favorite stuff I've seen being done right now. And thank you for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.
Peace out for now.
Thank you, mate. That was a pleasure.
That was fun, dude. That was
awesome.
good. That was good. You're
You're
good
great
on,
at this.
No, well.
Yeah, you really.
Chats and Tats with Aaron Della Vedova.